guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and today's video is all about how to dress if you have a larger bust. I know it can be a struggle for many women, and so I'm going to do my best to share my style secrets with you so that you can dress more comfortably and make the most of your curves. I've got 10 tips for you today, so stay tuned and let's get started. So my first tip is to absolutely start with basics and find the right bra. It's amazing how many women are wearing the wrong size bra and the wrong style bra. And you've got to keep in mind that if you get measured in one shop, that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be that size if you go to another shop. So wherever you go, and it's worth going to a place where they specialize in bra fitting and good supportive bras, especially if you have a bigger bust. It's so important to give you support because, as you will know, if you have a big bust, you can end up with back pains, very uncomfortable wearing a bra if it's not the right size. So it's worth getting the right bra. Also, it is highly recommended that you get fitted for a bra every 6 months. Now that you have your foundations right, let's talk about blouses, dresses, those kind of things. What you need to look for if you have a big bust is clothes that have been made with darts in them. So you can see in the pictures here, darts are folds in clothes. They're the seams in clothes that allow for curves. They allow for a bigger bust. This will prevent gaping and pulling across the chest area. So definitely look out for these. You might find that getting something with darts in it might be a little bit more expensive, but it's absolutely worth it if it prevents that kind of pulling or buttons popping open. You don't want that. Moving on to my next tip. So V-lines are going to be really flattering on anybody who has a big bust. If you're concerned about revealing too much cleavage, then put a little camisole underneath to cover up as high as you want. But that V-neck is going to break up the solid look that you would have otherwise with maybe something that's high neck, that's going to give you just a solid block color. So V-neck is going to be really flattering and is also going to fit really nicely across a bigger bust. My next little tip is to wear patterns. Now I say this with a little caveat as well, because patterns can do different things, as we know. If it's a big bold pattern, it's going to make you big and bold. If it's a smaller pattern, it can do wonders. So if you have a pattern across the bust, that can actually diffuse the size of the bust. So if you're concerned about that and you want to kind of minimize the bust area, go for a pattern that is quite small. Sleeve length can play a really important role in the size of your bust and how big it appears. If you have a sleeve that cuts across right at your biggest point across the bust here, so right here, that is going to give the impression that you have an even bigger bust. So you want to avoid something that finishes at that line of your bust. The most flattering length of sleeve for anybody is this 3/4 length sleeve, similar to what I've got on here today. So it finishes at a very slim part of the arm. It flows past where the bust line is and draws the attention down towards the hands. My next tip is all about balance. So whatever you do on top, make sure to complement that on the bottom as well. Otherwise you can risk having this kind of lollipop syndrome, as we call it. Always think about balancing your proportions. If you are top heavy and you have a bigger bust, think about how you can give good proportions on the lower half as well. So if you can imagine wearing a skinny jean, that might give you that kind of lollipop look where you are top heavy, or create an inverted triangle look. However, if you wear flares, for example, that could create balance, or a skirt that has a little bit of flow on the bottom half, that will also create balance and then cinch in under the bust or around the waist. And that brings me on to my next tip. If you want to create that kind of waistline as such, the most flattering shape for somebody with a big bust is to go right underneath the bust and create an empire line. So it would go out from under the bust and in an A-line from there. My next tip involves accessories. So it's important to also think about accessories when thinking about dressing for your bust size. So for somebody who has a bigger bust, a necklace similar to this, a long chain pendant, would be ideal. So the idea would be that it creates long lines again across the bust. It's not sitting somewhere that's like right on the bust, which draws the attention here. It's sitting down low, creating a long line, and is very flattering on a bigger bust. Some more accessories for somebody with a bigger bust is to wear chunky bracelets similar to these on the wrist, and that will kind of draw the attention away from your bigger bust if that's what you want to do. So if you want to kind of disguise it, think about where you want to draw the attention to rather than thinking about how do I cover up my big bust all the time. Going back to patterns again, we're talking about stripes. If you've watched my other videos, you'll know that stripes can do great things for us depending on how we wear them. So if you look at this picture here, we can see that mostly this shirt has vertical stripes, and that diffuses again the bust size. If you have that pattern of the horizontal stripes, if you had that all the way across the bust, the eye line draws us left to right, and it's just kind of increasing the bust size there. However, if you go up to down, that is going to be more flattering on a larger bust. And my final tip, longline cardigans are going to be really flattering on a bust. So again, we're thinking about creating those vertical lines. It's really flattering. It'll minimize the size of the bust and draw the attention kind of up and down rather than just across where the bust is. So that's it for my video today, guys. I do hope you enjoyed it and you learned something new. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time.